Hi everyone, how are you today? I am excited about this one and I'm going to tell you the reason why. There is a debate going on about whether the thing on one of these pages is a train or a car or a something in between. So I'm going to show it to you up close. This is the bigger picture of them. And so I kind of thought that maybe it might be a train. And my dad loves trains and his birthday is coming up. So I told Debbie that I would do it because I was already going to be making part of this kit for his birthday. And so I'm excited to be able to show you guys some of the things that I was able to do with it. Hi, Mary R. and Mary. Can I call you Mary C? Aw, I'm glad, Mary C, that you enjoyed that. Hi, Annette. Mary C said that she ordered last week and she doesn't know where to start. Everything was so wow.
That's cool.
Mary Lynn. Okay. Mary Lynn, I will try and remember. Bear with me, but I think that I can. Hi, Irene. How are you today?
Hi guys, I'm off to the side here, but I'm in here.
We're not sure if Susan is going to be joining us today or not. So if she does, we'll just get her settled in. So let's take a quick look at the kit. And I'm going to tell you now that I work slower than Debbie does. It's just a fact. She's been doing this for a really long time. And I get nervous about using scissors because I'm left-handed and I cut with my right and it tends to skew. So I went ahead and I actually cut my entire kit ahead of time. So if you actually have this already at your home, we did get it out there and online on Monday, and I believe that there were some that Ashley was able to send out on Tuesday. So if you don't have your kit, you will have plenty of time as well as time to know exactly what you need to cut for what along the way. So I will let you know because I kept pretty good notes. Okay, so here's our kit. We have, there we go. We have our hot air balloon. Yep, I got to get used to this idea again. Okay, we have our hot air balloon up here. And we have our little 4 tags. 3 of them say something. One says, "You're a real classic." Another one is a hot air balloon, a blimp that says "Enjoy your journey," and one that's just for you. And then down here in the corner with this guy that I call the pirate, um, and Debbie calls it Kurt Grussel. Um, and it's a dapper chap. And then here is our maybe possibly train. And the only reason why I have that point of view on it is up this little tiny one right here. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it close enough. Whoop. Okay, hold back. There we are. It's kind of dark, but you can see that it's got a steering wheel up front and it's kind of got a buggy type of a look to it. So that's my argument. We'll have to see when you guys have it what you think it is. Uh, Mary Lynn said that she called him Doc Holliday. That would be a good one.
That was a good one.
Okay, so that's our topper. We have this as our cardstock with a hot air balloon. And isn't this just, nope, not showing you on the right way. Okay. And this is just beautiful. It actually looks like when you get a closer look, especially in the little book, it actually looks like they took pictures of things and then put them on digitally. They did a really great job with this kit, mixing the real with the. Hi, Glenn. You're going to make a card for your dentist with him. Well, that might be a lot of fun. And then here is that piece. And this one's on our foil cardstock. So we've got a lot of pretty smears of gold, if you want to call them smears, but it's a good spattering. And then up here, isn't that border beautiful? So that's what we have. And I'm going to tell you right now that I kind of went a little overboard on the pretty papers. So I was informed. I like the pretty papers. What can I say? So we have this one in there. It's a damask from Couture Creations, and you should have gotten a half a sheet of this one. You will have a little emery board, half a thing of your foamies. You've got 3 different ribbons, our iridescent red, a maroon, and then a tan and blue organza that's in there, along with several gears. Some of you that have the first class, you'll have a couple gears left over, and it is very possible that you will be able to use these and it'll be perfect, or you may find that you want to add some more from your previous kit. So we just gave you some extras as a just in case. Then we've got our envelopes and our cardstock, Miri, a red card. We've got a couple of Dazzles, and we have an embossed piece with Cogs on it. We have our Dazzle of Time to Celebrate stickers. You have an extra 4x6 in there for using with your die set from last week. If you don't have that die set from last week, I don't believe that we have any more left in the store. If we do, there's only a couple. So if you need it because you purchased this one separately, I'm sure that you can connect with Debbie and see what we can do for you. So if not, you can always find something else to use out of your own stock. So that's something that we can talk about too. And then we have it. This is the pearlized A6 and an envelope. And then we have this damask that is white. It's for a gatefold. It's beautiful paper, beautiful card. And I'm covering the entire thing, but you will be able to have it on the back. So hopefully you can enjoy that. Then let's take a look at our other papers. We have a piece of craft cardstock, and it's because we need to make our DL out of this instead of using a card because we didn't have any more to give you. So we get to make our own, which is great because we don't make a lot of our own, do we? Yeah. So this is our cotton paper from Craft Perfect. It's called the Spice Basket. And I thought that it would go really well with this, and I think it does. And then you have, and these are full sheets, by the way. And then you have a Marine Mist from Craft Perfect as a Miri. And you're going to find that I used very specific parts. And so I'm going to show you my layout for each one because I was so careful in what I used and how much I used. There will be some pieces to this that will be important. So along the way, I'll refer to it as we get ready to cut that card. Okie dokie. So I think that we're ready. Have I missed anybody in saying hello? Okay. Alrighty. So I have something that I want to share with you, and we're hoping that it will work. And if it doesn't, then I tried.
I'm Bryce Shivers.
Hi, I'm Lisa Eversman,
And we put birds on things. Today we're gonna go to a store on Mississippi Avenue. Nothing has birds on it, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put birds on things.
Spruce it up. Make it pretty.
Thank you.
Put a bird on it. Putting a bird on this teapot. It's a bird. I bet you it's flying all over the beach.
What a sad little tote bag. I know, I'll put a bird on it. Did you see this bag before? I didn't. Now there's a bird. It's flying. It's free.
I'm gonna put this bird right on this card.
It's so pretty.
You like that, ma'am?
Fantastic.
Putting a bird on
It stopped playing, they said. They're saying sound. Can you hear me okay, guys? Something happened to the screen. No sound now.
No, I think you're back.
Okay.
I hope I can't hear you.
Hopefully you can hear me now. Yes, now. Okay, so it sounds like we are back. Alrighty, so here is our first card. It's our Dapper Chap, and we're going to use the pearlescent card stock for this one, the A6. And so this is what our card is going to look like, and let's see if I can make it the exact same way again. That could be fun, huh? Okay. So as I mentioned, I went ahead and I cut everything ahead of time just to make it a little bit faster so we could get through all the pieces. And so our Dapper Chap is just our regular A6. And then from there, we have our Spice Basket, and it is 3 5/8 by 5.5. And the reason why we made it that way is because I really wanted to keep. That's okay.
I was trying. They said they couldn't hear you. But...
Okay, so hopefully you can hear. Okay, we're good.
So
okay. Good, perfect. Alrighty, so the reason why I put it on there was so that our pearl could show through because it's really pretty with the background. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna do. And again, the Spice Basket is 3 5/8 by 5.5. And you'll just want to, this probably doesn't have a specific layout other than the fact that I cut it this way. So my first card that has it on it is here. And my second card has it here and here. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Now, something that I found is that with the paper, with the cotton papers, I was afraid that they wouldn't hold because they didn't feel like they were holding the last time that I used them, so we used glue. And what I found is that it's just on the places that, it's truly on the spaces that you are trying to put on top of the paper, not underneath, because they did leave you a nice piece. However, as you can see, it's a little bit harder to keep the finger lift tape on it. It keeps wanting to raise off. So if you do decide that you want to use glue, absolutely take it and glue it on. So gonna line it up, try and make it equal all the way around. And we used our tape flags here so that you can get it right on. Okie dokie. So that's our first part. You will have a 4x6 of gold in your Miri, in your kit, and you will want to do something pretty specific with this, and that is that when you take your timepiece that is here, when you take your timepiece die from last week, you're going to want to make sure that you get closer to the edge so that you can make both of them fit, because they do have those long pieces that come out in different spots. So just make sure that both can fit on there before you run it through the first time, or you may be using some extra gold Miri. I did the first time around, can you tell? And then the other thing that we're going to do is, you guys know that I like to use extras, and they had done such a pretty job with little clocks and stuff along the background, pocket watch and gears, and it just looked really pretty. And I wanted to try and make this one a bigger card. So make the picture, I should say, bigger, really expand it out. So what I did was I went ahead and I popped out my little guy. Hi, Ruth and Jane. How are you? I popped these two little guys out. And then I took and I cut right above the top, right here. Yep. Is that better? This way. Okay. So what I did was I cut it right here, basically as much as I could possibly take along the top piece of this. But I didn't want to get any gold on the bottom because it doesn't fall all the way through. So you want to try and keep that there. And then when I popped that out, I did the same thing here. I went ahead and I just cut straight across, and as you can see, it's got the gold up the side. And that's because when I cut right up to this line, because we're going to pop that out anyways. So it gives him, and then I cut right at the top. It gives him a bigger space so that we can have a little bit of fun with this. So in order to stretch him out, looking for my, so in order to stretch him out, I went through and put him on first. Nope, I take that back. I put this on first. And I kept it as a low piece. I didn't want to go too high. I also did not tack either side of these two corners down until I was done with putting these in. So I just want to set it here and just put a couple. Now these came with 1 millimeter foam squares, which is not our usual. And the reason why is I wanted to talk to you about getting inventive with some of the things. And it's a kudos to Emma because she likes to take some of my foam squares and she sticks them all together and calls them various different things like cake or marshmallows. You name it. She's got a plan for it. It's something. So the first one will actually sit a little bit lower, but it will still have dimension. Instead of being plastered right on that card, it's going to sit very nicely this way. Okay. Scissors. I'm going to use the little snips on this just because it is so tiny. And what I did was I tried to just give us exactly all the way around. So hopefully you can see this okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it does hide behind the arch. So if you find that you didn't cut straight, that's okay. Or that you left off a piece, that's okay too. Won't hurt a thing. Case in point, I just did it. Okay. And not only did I do it, but I cut it off. I took both points. So we're going to give this point back to him. And yeah, okay. We're going to give him a little more. Just a little bit extra. Okay, so this is our first piece. And I went and I put it in the bottom corner. And now I'm just working at trying to meet the very end of that corner and then make sure that I've got that hidden. So everything hides the cutting lines, so that's good. And this one, since I had a lot of fun cutting it all up, I'm going to be able to put it back behind here. And then we'll glue these down. And I apologize because I cut off that little bit of extra, but I think that it still looks good. Yeah. Okay. So how has your week been, guys? Yeah, I definitely know that one. Sometimes it feels like I don't recover as fast as I used to from things. And got a clog. Woohoo. There we go. So this, even though it is we're going to make sure that we get enough glue on it to where it will stick to that cotton. But you don't have to be too specific on where to glue it. And a portion of that is because it's going to be held down by that arch. So long as you get your areas that are showing covered, it's okay if you don't get every single little bit. And it does take a fine bottle to do this. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have my arch in the right place. And I really wanted to be able to see the arms on it, at least a little bit of it. Showing straight up at 12 o'clock. Go ahead and press that down. We will definitely want to make sure that it dries. It's okay if you can see the glue. It completely disappears. It dries clear, so it will be good to go. And then Debbie is over there working on class for Saturday. I believe she has all the kits together, right? Yeah.
Be listing them soon.
It will be a lot of fun. Okie dokie. So there's our first one. And at this point, I went ahead and I tacked down the top corner. And I'm putting this on top of the actual clock. So what that means is that I've got enough, I've got it, it's going to hit and connect with the glue. And so, excuse me, with the gold. And so I'm not having to glue it like I would normally have to glue a foamy to a cotton piece, but because it sits right on that gold, you don't have to glue them. Do we have someone that says what they've been doing this week, Bryce?
Mary R. asked Laura if she had a good birthday, so I'm assuming that happened this week.
Well, happy birthday. I tell you, it's very different with COVID, isn't it, to have a birthday?
Diane McIntyre's here.
Hi, Diane. Okay.
Mary R. sent Bob a Valentine ornament.
Yay. I'm sure that he will love it. Okay, we've now got that side down.
Several are commenting on all your extra tips. Great.
Good, good, good. I tend to think about what I'm doing and just say it out loud because, yeah, my brain gets a little fuzzy with doing this online and in front of a camera. So it even struggles more than usual. So these two corners, I am going to have to put a little bit of glue on the back of the foamy for it to stick well. It does stick, but for long term, we want it to stick really well. Okie dokie. I know about this time it would be a baby wipe, but oh, they're right here. Shine it on up.
Laura shares her birthday with her son, who just turned 24.
Oh, wow. That's neat. So you guys, you had your baby on the same day, or are you just sharing it with a different day? Because we do that in our family too, where we have birthdays that are close to each other, and it always seemed like my dad ended up having his birthday celebrated with my grandma's birthday. But they were born about 5 days apart. Yeah, I'm trying to put it on upside
Same
down.
day, Laura says.
Same day. Well, that had to be a fun birthday. Okay, So here's what I'm talking about with stacking. So we've got the 1 millimeter, and by putting 2 underneath it, it will now stand just a little bit higher. So you sandwich them together like that, and you make yourself, if you put a back to back to back, you'd make yourself a cake, according to Emma. So I don't know that I would want to eat these, but she was really excited when she said, "Oh, you're doing the stacking." So you just take it, fold them together. You have no sticky anymore on each side. You just peel those on each side off, and you have a 2 mil, which is what you would normally have. And I'm going to explain the reason why I do this.
Mary Lynn says, for 3 daughters, my daughter's 3 kids have their birthdays all in a 10-day period.
Wow. That's a busy, busy time. All right, so we've got our dapper chap right there. And he sticks up because I put the 2. He actually sits just above the archway. And the reason why I do these on these types of cards is I really want to show the paper. This is a beautiful paper, so to cover it all up, it would be disappointing for me to have it just kind of disappear. So I want to be able to not only let the topper shine, but my idea is that if you're going to use a paper, make the paper shine too. So that is the reason why I have a space here in the arch, and I created a smaller space through here. But it's still well seen. It's not covered up completely anywhere. And the more that you can highlight it with height, the more likely you will find that you can see through to the other side. When you're holding it at a different dimension, you'll definitely see the paper.
Mary R agrees, that paper is lovely.
I do. I like it a lot. Okay, fold them in half for your top. So I was born on Father's Day, and so my dad and I share my birthday with Father's Day. I think it's every 7 years, sometimes every 6 years. It kind of depends on how the calendar falls. And so over my lifetime, we've been able to share that day. So I know that it can be so much fun to share those kind of days together. Yes, Bryce is kind enough to come in and do this for me tonight. He doesn't get a day off.
Not this week.
You know, I really appreciate that Hunky Dory makes these very, very sticky, so it makes it so much easier to be able to do this. Okay, and I just want to get him a little askew. I'm on some cotton here. My tummy is talking. It's those nerves. Okay. And I want to put one there just to be able to make sure that I'm raising it up off that arch. And keep in mind, those are the 2-fold stacks. Alrighty, and so from here, we have our gears. Now, some of you have in your kit, some of you have silver ones, some of you have gold ones, some of you have copper ones. And so I want to make sure that you know that if you don't like the silver against the gold, you can change that color very easily. And I'm going to show you when I get to one of my silver ones how to do that. So there's one gear. I like what you guys did on Saturday with the clocks and putting that the crystal lacquer. And I'm probably not using the right
That's right term. The glossy accents or crystal lacquer, either one.
Glossy accents. Okay, that's the other name for it. And so I really liked how it looked. However, mine is still packed because let me tell you, my craft room is going to be extremely organized, but it's taking a lot of time to get it done. This little guy right here, I put him right on the actual card, on the wheel that's sticking out right here. So he just sits right there. And it's okay if it's hanging off a little bit. In fact, it kind of makes that fun so that you can see a little bit, again, a little bit more of that paper. It gives it that extra dimension. And I don't want to tip it too much just because of the glue that I've got sitting on it. So that's our first card. Okay, our next card is gonna stress me out a little bit. Okay. And stress out just because I cut everything and I'm hoping that it will all fit together right. So let's just take this out of the bag. Dump all my goodies. So you're going to have one of your gear pieces on this. The other one had 3. I don't think that I remembered to tell you that. And we're going to talk about cutting again here in just a second. So this is the card that we're going to be making. And you open it on up. And inside you've got the timepiece and it says just for you. There you go. Alrighty. So first things first, making sure that you cut things out where they need to be. All right, so I have a 6x6 right here, and I was crazy enough to leave it whole, but this is where I took it from, guys. It was right here. I wanted to make sure that you knew where it came from in the picture, so I didn't want to take that out. But since it's a 6x6 card, you're gonna have 3x3.
Mary says, don't stress much. We're all here. We can be flexible and just talk it through.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Beautiful card.
All right. And I misspoke a little bit.
Van says, no worries, it's just us.
I know I can talk all I want when I'm on the other side of the camera. No problem. Okay. I didn't quite say the truth. It's this, that's the 6x6. And I cut it from right here on the Miri. So you take your 6x6 and then you cut it in half. And you take that square that I just cut and cut that in half. And this square is 5 5/5 by 5 5/8, and then you cut that in half. Okay. going to set that off to the side. Okay. Then you have a section of border that came off your topper piece. And I use every little bit of this. So cut it off as close as you can. And that border piece is 6 inches. So we're going to use it down the whole card piece. So you want to make sure that you give yourself 6 inches, but don't take too much more off of that.
Behind Catherine from France.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
1:40 a.m.
Oh, a night owl. My husband works nights, so I have learned how to kind of run the middle section of that. And what I mean by the middle is that I have a granddaughter that we're raising, and so what happens is that she has to get up and go to school. And it used to be that I didn't get to see my husband as much because of that, because I had to go to bed earlier. But now he takes her to school in the mornings, and then I can stay up with him a little bit later, which makes that very, very nice. Okay, so we're going to just put it right on just like that. And my little note on the back of my card says 3 by 3. So I obviously got it right. Now, Debbie pointed out that I did something that is a little bit more unusual in this, that I had such a big topper sitting over the side. And I'm going to tell you what the trick is. You want to actually put one of the tricks is that you want to make this as stable as possible. So one of those ways is to be able to put it on all 4 sides. You can make your tape flag out of that and still do tape flags. And what I found is a trick for me, because I really, if I mess it up, then I feel very frustrated with myself because I can see it. Probably no one else can see it, but I can see it. So I have this little piece that I put in the middle, and I just take it and take the whole thing off. And then I run the rest of my tape flags. I think I want to take this one from down here. I run the rest of my tape flags, and then I lay it down. And it helps kind of join them all together.
And that says, Margie, we are family. Family. We know we're family even if you mess up. We still love you.
Oh, well, it's going to happen today. I just know it. That's the way it goes. Debbie, I think Debbie just kind of at me.
As you affirm it, so it shall be.
Okie doke. So there's the first one. Put on the second one. Oh, again, my little note, 3 by 3. There we go.
3 by 3. That's 3 by 6.
3 by 6. Is that a don't do as I say? Uh-huh. Usually it's the opposite way around, isn't it?
Do as I do.
Yes. Okay. And then just a little guy in the middle. Pull that on back. Catherine says that she's sending an ooh la la Valentine card to Monsieur Bob.
Oh, I already told her. I told Bob that he had a French Valentine.
Can you hear her? She said that she already told Bob that there's a French Valentine coming his way.
Annette if Oliver got his card, please.
Ask Annette what?
If Oliver got his card.
His card or his...
His card.
Okay. Did Oliver get his card, Annette? No, not yet.
Oh, did it get sent? Or package from downstairs?
That as of yesterday, I do not believe so.
Oh no, how come I wonder?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, Annette, we'll make sure that we get it in there tomorrow. Make sure that it's there, and when you order next, we'll send it on your way.
Well, we
Just
mail
send it?
Just
Okay.
mail it.
We'll just mail it. How about this? I go down when I'm done with this, and I will mail it.
Yeah, we can just leave it to Ashley to mail it tomorrow. She may have been waiting for an order.
Okay.
That actually wasn't my intent, but I wasn't clear.
Okie dokie. Catherine says, are you in the background? If so, XXX. Yes, she is here working on more of her, is it doodling, would you call
I'm
it?
moving my doodles to my little notebook that we're supplying them with so they'll be able to see them and I won't have everything on 15 pieces of scratch paper.
I see.
And then I'm going to doodle with my stencils.
So she's over here doodling. And it says, he asked me today, Nana, Nana. I said, what, baby? Did my thingy come? He's so excited to get mail.
Well, I can't believe I didn't send it. But it's my fault in that I wasn't clear with Ashley that I wanted her to just send that out. So I thought it was on its way. But we'll get it there. It's my fault. I have to be clear, they tell me.
Well, you know, yeah, don't want to guess. Okay. So I'm doing the same thing where I'm just putting that little piece in the middle so that I can readjust it if I need to. And this just really makes it sing, I think. Just put this on. This one hangs over a little bit over the top. You can see it right there, how it's hanging just a little bit over the top. And that's just to give us a little bit of that extra structure. So, looks good. And because this other one kind of peeks out from underneath, you're okay with having it sit just equivalent. And it's okay to make it just right here along the edge. Just let it sit right on that edge. And what that does is it gives us a nice little border piece of that blue that makes it, that I think personally makes the blue on the actual card pop a little more. And my goal was actually to try, and I think part of the reason why I used a lot of different papers, not I think, it was intentional. So the reason why I used a lot of the papers that I chose to use, even though they can be darker in colors, they have a reflection to them. Both the Spice and the Miri has a reflection. So that really is going to lighten up your card as it reflects the colors of the topper onto the card. Okie dokie. And I just totally did that without my tape flags. Yay! Okie dokie. And there it is. So now I've got two sides. They do overlap a little bit, but that's part of the goal, is because we want to make sure that our card is going to be as sturdy as it possibly can all the way across. And you're going to see the trick that goes onto the inside of this so that they don't stick together. So the next thing that we do is we grab our Dazzles. And I want to show you on here, we did the Dazzles on silver because we did not have enough gold. And so, Spammer, what type of tape are you using in the center? Oh, just regular finger lift. So just little tiny one. I make them about this long, maybe. Very small. You don't need a lot. Okay, so on this, Debbie was kind enough while I was putting the kits together to color these in. These are silver. We did not have enough of the gold, and we didn't really realize that, and that would be my fault because I went downstairs. I thought we had plenty, and we apparently did not. So I'd already grabbed a gold one, and so that's why this is showing up in gold. And so we wanted to try and blend it through and get kind of a bronze color. And so I think we did a good job of figuring that out. I just put it right on that line. You will notice that I have a couple of them that look a little bit of a different color, and that is because what Debbie did was she used our Bic intensity colors, and she ran it with what was it, a brown? Yeah, a brown, and it made this color. So it's really pretty. It has almost kind of a rose gold look to it. And take my little snippers and snip, snip at the bottom. And now I have this piece, and I just put it right back on because you never know where I might use it. Okay, so right here at the very bottom, there's a few of them that are different colored. And so what I did was I used a darker brown here and got more of a brownish tone. Then I tried adding maybe a little bit of red, and that made it just really brighten up this color. It brightened it up a little bit more, and it tended to look a little bit more copper. And then I took a mix between green and yellow of my alcohol marker, ran my yellow first, and then ran my green over the top because you don't want to put green on your yellow marker. So yellow first, and then just a little bit of green, and that is about as close as I can think to getting it to being gold. So you can even make your silver stickers with your alcohol marker. So that could be a Sharpie, a Bic, anything that's a permanent marker based in alcohol will make that work. And so you can add those right on over the top of your sticker and give it a totally different look. And now I'm going to take from the other side because otherwise I won't have enough. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what fell.
Looks like a paper organizer.
Okay. Oh. Her organizer that I moved so that Susan could see the TV. Sorry, Debbie, I will fix that.
No worries.
Okay, so add it to the other side as well. Clip it right off. And again, I'm not going all the way down. I'm just ending at that red line right there. So we're just keeping it right in the same area. And again, don't know when I'll be using it again. So I'm just going to save what I got. And I know where I'm using it again because I'm teaching the class. Okay. So as you can see, there's a little bit of stickum that kind of goes there, but that is quite all right because we are going to fix it. Okay. So this comes off of right here. And if you see in here, it's nice and has a pretty look. I do end up cutting off quite a bit of that blue, and that's okay. But you want to have enough so that it crosses over onto the inside. So I cut this at, hang on.
Catherine says those borders are lovely.
They are absolutely pretty. 6 by 2 1/8 for you to be able to do that side. So 6 inches long, 2 1/8. So we just put it on. And I cut it when I get to that point. So I don't want to go too far. Upside down, wrong way. Just kidding. Okay, right along there. So let's see. I kind of am wondering if I possibly have it cut at a different shape. Oh, hey, don't put it on yet. I forgot. Okay, here we go. I'm kidding. We're not using that piece yet. Alrighty.
I've done that a few times already. More than just a few, actually.
Okay. Well, you know, you get kind of going on something, and I can remember how I did my card, but I don't always remember in what order I did my card. So sometimes it can throw me off. And this would be one of those times. Okay. There we go. Alrighty, so we are going to glue it down on the one side here. And I glued down both sections because I wanted to give it that nice broad border, and it also helps give it a little bit more stability so it doesn't end up flopping around quite as much. And because it's a unique shape, I just glue it. Especially, I want to make sure that it's got that strength to be able to open the card. So I find that glue kind of keeps that, and it also helps me not if I've got to move it a little bit, because this is just playing with your shapes and trying to make sure that you get them where you need to get them.
Say good night, Catherine.
Good night, Catherine. Thank you for joining. Net says, wagons hold. Okie dokie. Turn this around. Okie doke. So, take your piece. There it stands. And you just put it going all the way out, and you're just going to match it on up. Okay. Now, you can choose to do this one of two ways. You can fill this in and not glue it down on this side. It does give it a little tiny ridge, but you don't really notice it or feel it on the card because you've got this that goes over the front. So you don't really notice that it changed in depth a little bit. And so we're going to let it raise, but we're not going to let it raise far. So we're going to use these at the one level, not making them into twos. And I put a lot of foamies on this one. Again, just to make sure that we've got that extra bit of strength so that it doesn't pop off, because this does become part of its structure.
Annette says all of her cards are one of a kind. She can't remember how she made it.
It just means you change it up. Okie dokie. I'm going to have this lovely little pile of foamy squares by the time we're done today.
Confetti.
Confetti.
Put it in your cards.
Just little tiny speckles of
Here,
purple
I
here
decided to
and
share
there.
my garbage with you. You're welcome.
Emma would see the little pieces of purple and say that you put sprinkles in it.
Yes.
So you can trick a child, but don't try tricking Debbie with it, apparently. She finds them in her bed.
I find little the little backers off of foamy squares in my bed all the time. On the floor, all through the house.
That's funny.
In my bra. Yeah, they're all over.
So again, we're keeping it low because we don't want people to see that white space, but it pops just enough to give it that extra height. Now, got this white thing going on over here. What do I do with it? Well, I cut mine.
Yeah. Cut it out. No way.
I just cut mine. So here is my stickum that I put on this one. And see, I didn't put it right on. So guys, I'm going to trim mine a little bit because of this, but this is where you want to make sure that it goes all the way to the base of the card. And I did not do that. I was paying attention to the base of the arch, which stays a little bit above that. So you won't see the Miri on mine as much because I'm going to have to trim it. But for right now, I'm going to leave it and I will fix that part of it later. Scissors, scissors, scissors. This requires the big scissors come out. Okay. So on this one, I'm just going to take and I'm going to cut. Oh, better? Thank you. And you just go all the way around. So it looks nice and smooth. Looks like the arch is supposed to be there and you did it just the way that you were supposed to do it. And nobody else will know that it wasn't meant to have a little twist or a turn in it. Truly. No idea. Look at that. It looks like a regular card on the front. So part of the trick with making this arch work this way is by making sure that it goes all the way to the top of the card and that you have a nice good piece that you've put in the back of it. So remember I said we were extending it out a little bit. Give it that little bit of the edge. That's why you have the Miri not show on this side, but you do on this side. So we have this side. If you wanted to, you can do what I did here. I am going to skip it currently for right now, and I may end up possibly using it here on the base so I don't have to cut it. So I may be able to trick it here, but I just used a portion of the side of my topper set. So right here, I used this little piece and I put it right up here and it looks beautiful. It helps keep it off from accidentally catching on this other card, but I made this a little bit bigger this time around and so it's not catching on the card because I knew that from prior experience. Okay, so now remember how we had that piece of border that needed to be exactly your 6 inches? It just goes right here so that it looks like it's intentional to just that it was supposed to be there. See how that works? Okay. And I think that I need to bring that down a little bit more, right? Okay.
And it says James makes her go outside to work with glitter after the 2015 mishap. There's got to be a story there.
There's got to be a story. I want to hear the story. I want to hear the story, Annette.
Somebody says that they need to create a machine to hold their, was it a foamy dispenser? Is that what I saw?
So we don't have to deal with the little vaccuums.
They actually have one. There is one.
Of course they do.
They don't have it?
No, because no. You can buy them in a roller pack from Thermoweb. They actually have a dispenser, but they cost quite a bit more. So we peel foamies.
She says James was traumatized.
Wow. Well, my husband says that both Emma and I have to move out if there's ever going to not be glitter in the house, and that he'll put up with glitter so that he can keep us around. So that's what my James says. Okay. Clip that off. And now you've got your layers. So 1, 2, and 3.
And that's still a huge bottle of glitter on the carpet, and James wore glitter for weeks. Mary R. says, Thermoweb stole my idea.
Okay, so on this timepiece, which I ran through the die machine earlier to save us some time because it takes me a while to make these cards. So I apologize because I did not leave the examples behind for Debbie to show last night. But hopefully, if you were seeing it last night and you thought maybe from the pictures that you wanted one, and now for class you may want one, you can go online, and we are getting very low on the kits that we made. So I believe that the one from Saturday is, I think that there might be one more.
Nope, we're sold out.
You're sold out. Okay.
Last Saturdays.
So last Saturday with the monkey is sold out, and this one is going to be moving out pretty soon. Okay. So we tried to figure out where the top of this was and where it was pointing to. And so Debbie and I came to the conclusion that the 12 is sitting right along up in here. So if you care, it will just be something that you want to put on. And I believe that I put this one on definitely a little bit crookeder. If you see in this one, it's the point is straight down in order to get that 12 to be right at the top. So mine is a little off. Okay, so I've got my foamies. This one I am going to put up on 2. It's okay because it actually helps hold the card. It actually holds this piece of the card up enough on top that it also makes it so that it holds this piece from bending and falling with time, because we do have that little empty space back there. So by pushing it up, it doesn't have to collapse on you later. Pardon me, guys. I'm going to have to take a sip here. My mouth is getting dry. I don't know about you guys, but my mouth is really dried out from wearing a mask all the time. And I've just found that, okay, so that is this card. Again, I'm going to fix this right down here, probably later with my nice little trim piece. So I will probably go like this and then go across the bottom and just even it on out. Okay.
It says she's got glitter from one end of the RV to the other. She has no idea how that happened.
Now, I put my little gear piece on the wrong one. I meant to put it on this one, and I didn't. So I don't have a gear piece for the one that was made because I used it somewhere else in the kit. You'll see it. We're just going to pretend like that didn't happen, and our gear goes here. And this is where I have my silver, my little silver one. And so because of the silver versus the gold, I know that we can use silver and gold together. But oh, here it is. But I found that I didn't have to use the green on the gears like I did on the stickers. And so I just have my yellow. You can't see that. All right, we're going to mess up my directions here. Look at that. And it's just kind of a orangish yellow color. And it just paints right over that gear. And no problem. Look at that. Nice gold gear now. Isn't that amazing how those alcohol markers work? The big intensities will really make it shine. I forgot to grab that, so mine happened to be in my kit from earlier. And around with our piece. And there we go. So some may like silver, some may like it with the gold. If you have a preference, it would be neat to know if you liked it, if it stood out more for you in silver versus the gold, maybe. We'll have to find out. So there we go. 2 down. How am I doing on time, guys?
We're at 5:16.
Okay.
There we are. So that's a very pretty card.
Okay, guys. I'm going to move through this one a little bit quicker. This one is a pretty easy card to actually do. So I really like it because it's simple, but look at how many different things are on this. All these pretty colors. You can see the blues and the golds. It's so pretty.
Looks like there's stickles on that card.
There is some stickles on this card. I did not stickle the other two, but I did stickle these. I wanted to show some of the colors that we have in the store because we got all those new and different colors in. And so one of them is pink and one of them is a gold mercury. And on this card, I left my wheels silver. And however, in here, in my little pack, I have gold. So that's just what I had as I was passing them out to everybody's kit. So let's take these 2 little gears out. And I have 2 little stickers as well. And if you see, our stickers go here and here. I got them from our Dazzles Time to Celebrate stickers. And I will tell you right now that our next card, I'm not going to do the whole thing for you guys in front of you because it will take way too much time. It takes a little bit of dedication, but it sure is fun to do. So I will show you in a little bit. It felt like a dot and do type project while I was making it. Okay, so this is a 5x5. And so what I did was I went through and I just went 1/4 of an inch down from that all the way around. So I cut that much off from my card shape for the gold. So here's my gold. Here's my blue. And then here's that really pretty damask piece. You got half of that sheet. You got half of that sheet, and this is how I cut it. Okay, this way technically, so that it all matches up. So you do have some of this left if you want to use it in any way, shape, or form. And then I lined it right up like that. So it is 5x5 topper. You have your gold, then you have your blue Muri. So the gold is 5x5. Your Muri is 4 3/4, and then your damask is 4.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to just go through just because of time. And this is something that will not take much time at all.
Say hi to Joyce.
Hi, Joyce. How are you? Okay. I'm going to put this up on foam squares. I doubled them from my ones because we sent you ones. I made sure that I just doubled mine, and you will get this height. And I'm going to tell you, I glued down this one down below. Each one of these has a one mount on them. One mount, one mount, one mount. So this has to have the two mounts in order to give it its space. And I put this and I glued it into place. But I think that because this is such a pretty one, I went, oh, why did I do that? I didn't mean to do that at all. So you can totally make a decision on which way you like yours. But I did it to where the damask is going to show through right there. And then I put on my topper with the double foam squares. Just like that. Because now you can see that beautiful embossing right on it. So this is what it looks like. And then I just went and there's a blank space here and a blank space here. And we were kind of running out of tags because I used them all in one spot. So I went through. This one comes from right here on the top right here. And the other one comes right down here under the T in Celebrate. You can use them differently. You might like something else more than the other. I just placed them right on here. And on this one, they've given you so many different spaces to be able to use these gears and so many different dimensions. But I used one bigger one, and then I just put the little one right in the middle. And then this one, I took the bigger gear. And then I took out the middle piece. So they're very closely together. And there you go. So that is how I have the outside of the card. Glue these into place. Look at that. Obviously, it's going to be really hard for me to tip without it actually being officially glued, but there you go. And if you open the inside of my card, you have Time to Celebrate. That came from our Dazzle with the Time to Celebrate. Okie dokie. See, I told you that would just be a really simple card. It doesn't look that way because you've made it so rich, but this really is a pretty quick card to be able to put together. Okay, this is the one that I think is the car. Doop. But we can just call it a steam machine. That's okay.
Sounds more vintage.
I want to show you what I did because this is just regular standard gold mirror. It doesn't show up quite as much in the picture, but if I put this next to it, I think you'll see the difference.
Okay, slide over a little, other way.
Look at the difference in the mirror. You can really see it. I wanted to age it, and so I burnished it with the little emery board. So I tried doing it first and doing the embossing, and then was trying to pick up that burnish on the cogs and wheels. And I found that I didn't really like it that way. So this was my first plan. And so I played a little bit more. this is what you end up with. So let's take a look. I definitely have the piece here. I did half of it so that we wouldn't have to sit here and stare at me for the entire time, just burnishing a piece. But I did want to at least show you how I went ahead and did that. So here is your gold, and you can see where it's burnished on there. If you just go straight with your emery board, it won't work. You'll just end up with a whole bunch of scratches. So I have it as a whole piece because that's how you're going to get it. I actually recommend that you clip off a little piece of this after you use something. I used the steel piece on my cutter at home, and man, that brightened up my little steel piece just beautifully. But it wore that down to where it's almost more of like a nail buffer instead of a nail sander. So I am going to just say, snap it, because it will be easier to move around when you do it this way. And I keep coming off camera. Okay, so we can see the difference between the two. And you just go around in circles. And then with time, then you start to move in and do other circles, straight lines, you name it. If you have a nail buffer at home, those little white ones, give that a try as well and see if you like one over the other. But doesn't that really just show up and you have, ta-da! So I have this Couture Creations Cogs. Here we go. Just kidding, off camera again. Okay, so these are our cogs and our chains. I believe that we have a couple of them still in the store, but just because there were only a couple and we couldn't send one to everybody, I actually burnished them for you and put them in your kit. So they're already done and burnished. And so hopefully you can enjoy it this go around, and I am going to pretend like I put it in my embossing machine, and voila, beautiful right here. Okay, so the cogs on this are a lot of fun. It gave it a totally different dimension, and let's face it, this car is little tiny. Look at how tiny it is. You can kind of guess. I believe that it's like two, yeah. It might actually be even a little bit smaller than, I want to say that it's a 2 5/8. No, it's smaller than that. So it's got to be a 2x2. I'm pretty positive that's a 2x2. I do know what we need to cut our stuff down to, though. So let's see here. I already have my pieces here. So I'm just going to set this aside. I want to talk to you about using things around your house that you haven't used. You're not sure when you're going to use them next. I sent you guys some of my cards that I bought for just backing paper at Christmas time. And this was a color that wasn't quite the right color for that, but it really works well with this, with the coloring in this piece. Whoop. Right there. See that beautiful rose? It really pulls that out. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to just mount everything and put it on as one fell swoop. So I'm gluing this down to the blue. And the blue is 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. Okay. And I do think that you could have a lot of fun with filling in and making that watch in here really shine with the crystal. Like Debbie did on Saturday, and I think that that could be a lot of fun. This way. Okay. And then I'm going to take and I'm just going to glue one section here and one section here. Where did I get this beautiful paper from, you might ask? Well, let me show you. Okay, so when I make the border, I'm going to use the same size as this. So I cut the border size. It's a little tiny bit smaller than your 5/8, but it doesn't hurt. You won't cut something out or wish that you hadn't. So you can just take that at the 2 5/8. Then what I did was I took my cutter and I literally just split it in half. So here's where it came from, except for that you can't see. I'm so sorry. Let me try that again. Okay, so you can cut another 2 5/8 by 2 5/8 right here in the corner. And what I did after I cut my 2 5/8 is run it, just split it right in half up that border to get both of these sides. Then flip them in like this and glue them. And the reason why I'm doing this is to make my small tag bigger, right? That's the whole goal. You're going to make your tag seem just a little bit bigger. I shouldn't say tag, it's a topper. Now you can play with it as much as you want, going, do I want more red and more blue on the sides? Do I want it smaller? What do I want it to look like? And you can use your piece to do that. And I have to be really honest with you guys, I don't necessarily put my topper on until, especially when I have a base like this, because then I can fiddle with it and see where I want it to go without having to worry about, oh, I have to make it one way or the other because I've already put everything on my card. So whoever's trying to reach us out there currently, we are having a live stream.
It's my mother.
That's probably an important call. So I think that Debbie has told you this before. She tends to call on Thursdays. It seems like either she's calling right as we're getting ready to do a stream or in the middle of the stream, sometimes at the very end. But it seems to be fairly consistent that she calls on Thursdays. But you know, it's harder to remember everybody's timeline. I tell my husband, because he'll try and give me 5 days worth of whatever it is that I'm doing or that he's doing. And I just go, yeah, just put it in the calendar, hun. I'll look at it when I get to it because I can't remember that far ahead. Okay. So here are my two. And again, you can make it as big or as small as you want it to go because we used glue, so you can shift it around. Okay. Now, he's such a little guy, but right here with the Dazzle, it has this really great frame around it. And this is brown, by the way. It kind of looks a black color in the TV screen, but it's actually brown. And I'm just going to peel this piece off. I'm not going to use anything else from that at this point in time, but I'm just taking it and I'm framing my little car. And I'm putting it on the blue. And I don't recommend that you try doing this until you've actually put your border on the back. And we don't want it to cover up too much of our actual picture. Took my mom on a horse-drawn carriage tour of the city and we loved it. Oh, that's so neat. We may be live, we may not be. We're not sure.
We're back.
Hopefully we're back.
Both cameras dropped off.
Well, that has been something that I found with this software is that it will kind of just start back up even.
It's supposed to. That was one of the selling features.
Well, it has worked well when it's happened in the past. So, if you missed that,
They say they hear you fine.
great, good. So if you missed that, I'm putting this frame on from this piece down here at the bottom of the Time to Celebrate. We've got it right there. And it's looking pretty good. But for me, I wanted to make sure that we gave it a little bit of softness and fill this space because it is a little tiny. It is a little tiny piece. So we want to make sure that we're not covering up our cogs too much on each side, but that we can still see. So I went ahead and I took the angle here with my finger lift tape. Want to make sure that I'm in the picture frame. Sorry guys, I think I keep drifting the other direction. That's interesting. We may go in and out. I'm not sure why, guys, but hopefully we can just keep moving forward. Okay, so here is my one piece. Now I'm going to do the same to the maroon. Should just move my chair a little bit further this way and maybe I would stay in place. Okay. Finger lift tape on the back of the card. And yes, you did see me put the first one right on the ribbon and pull it off. And the reason why I do that is because I'm not sure how I'm going to want this to angle when I first start. So I want to just make sure that I get it just right. So I put it on the ribbon a lot of times, and then I can always come back and add a little bit of extra. There we go. This one, this is what I want. Okay, so we have it there. I realized that I should have cut this down before putting on the ribbon. So hopefully you can actually see the line where it is outside of the embossing folder. So I'm just going to take that down. And I get to put finger lift tape on it all over again. Okay. Okay. Haha, there was still enough on there. Yay. Okay. From here, before I add this on all the way, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add pieces to my gears because it really doesn't show as well, and I wanted them to stand out. I wanted this to also blend, these corner pieces. I wanted them to blend with everything else. So some people may like it just like this. It is really pretty, just like that, I think. But I also think that we can use the other gears in our time to celebrate. So what I did is I basically went through and I found the spots for them. Now I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I know where everything is at, and I'm actually going to put this other one on so that you can see what I'm talking about. But it will take me a really long time to put them all where they belong in the right angles and everything else. But what I did find is I had to finagle with my pieces quite a bit, and it's probably actually a little bit faster that I could probably do it now, but I also want to make sure that we can finish up with our last card. So these are the pieces that I used, and what I would really recommend, because otherwise you're going to pull them off and pull them on again and pull them off and pull them on again, because you're going to want to make sure that you have them in the right spaces. So you can fiddle with them a lot or a little. It's totally up to you. In these, specifically in this one that's right here, I went through and I took these tiny little guys with my tweezer. I took those off, those little tiny pieces right here. Took it off and I put them inside. There's a divot. You can see it right here. There's a little tiny, maybe you can see it right here. Right here, you can see that there's a little divot in the gear. And so I went through and I put, and here would be the reason for the tweezers. And I will tell you, I lost a few of these along the way. But it really brings out the piece to put it inside the divot. You may decide you don't want to do that, and that's okay too. Because guess what? It gets to be your creation too. Well, it would help if I was trying to put it on the right way.
Mary says that's a very striking card. So tactile.
It is.
She says you have the patience of Job.
Yeah. And so some people, it's just not going to be for them, but that's where I put these little divots, was right in here. And part of the reason for that, when we look at this card, is that there are only so many gears that will fit into these cards. So a couple of them I had to just use the little dot in the middle. So I wanted to make sure that it kind of felt like it was full. So that's the reason why I put them in that one. I did not put them in any of the other ones, you might notice, because I didn't have the patience of Job. Okay. Hi, Roberta. How are you? Hopefully taking a good nap. Okay, so from here, now that I've made these gears stand out a little bit on each side, and oh, I wanted to make mention that part of the reason why I'm showing you this burnished example and how to do it for yourself is, do you ever get scratches in your Miri? I do, because I have a little girl that likes to go through my Miri. Oh, it's so pretty, Nana.
She's helping.
She's helping. So sometimes she scratches up my pieces, so I don't like to necessarily throw things out. And so I have to try and find a way to use it. And one of the things that I found is that you can create this burnished look on your mirror board if you just use and get those scratches out of there by buffing them out, basically. And then from there, I would just attach it right here to my card. And then we've got a little thing that says, "You're a real classic." Now I can't put it on this one. And here's the reason why. I lost mine. Somewhere it got eaten by the couch monster. I didn't move. I was literally working in the same place, but I took that couch apart. I vacuumed underneath it. I looked in the vacuum cleaner. No part. So I can't put this one on for you to give the example, but it is part of your topper set. She's starting to work on her Valentine's now, Roberta. Yes, thank you. Annette says that Oliver has sent you a card.
Yeah, I'm going to owe him another one before I get mine out.
I think you sent that to Roberta. That's Roberta.
Oh, good.
Oliver sent you a card.
Oh, good.
Oh, Roberta, Oliver sent you a card. Oh, great.
Good.
I was not.
Because I didn't want to owe him another one until.
Okay, guys, this is the last card. And it's actually kind of detailed in the cutting. So I want to make sure that you guys are okay. I can talk you guys through it and just give you the measurements, or I can do it. So it just depends on how long you guys want to hang out with me. Hang out with me, please. What do you guys think? Keep going. Okay, I will keep going. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is actually make a card base. And you can get out your scoring tool and use your scoring tool to make a nice, beautiful straight line right here. The craft paper that I sent is a good weight to be able to hold the card. but it also has a lot of pliability. So I'm truly not going to use the score tool this time around and hope that it works. So you want to cut it into an 8x8 because as soon as you fold it over, it becomes a DL. Beautiful fold in half. This is Hunky Dory craft paper, and it actually comes with some thinner pieces too. But here's our card, and just really easy, 8x8, folded in half. You're good. So with your spice basket, remember we talked about that you have your piece here that I already cut and used. And so you're just going to put your measure from here to here, and that's 4. So you can cut it at the 4 line, and it takes the entire length of the paper.
Velma has one of those lounger monsters. Loves all little things.
Could that be an honey kitty?
I don't think she really means a lounger.
It eats everything, kind of like your socks in the dryer.
Yeah.
Well, you do know the socks reoccur as Tupperware lids that don't fit anything.
Oh, is that what happens? They just change shape.
The socks from the dryer magically reappear as Tupperware lids that don't fit anything.
Okay, I'm going to use this side because there's my little note to myself that this is an 8x8 card. So I'm going to do that here. And again, I did the whole test of, I did the testing to make sure that this finger lift tape sticks, and it does on the back. So it's got to be whatever the cotton paper has in it, because these are cotton fibers that they've created this paper out of. But the back of it is more of a actual paper to where it does quite well. I will say that with the paper, you absolutely have to tear a little piece off like you would with the finger lift when it doesn't work well for you. Don't even try, I'll flip it down here to this side. Don't even try worrying about trying to get it off that way. You're gonna want to use your break in your finger lift so that you can just go ahead and lift it right up and off. There we go. Man, it's wanting to be stubborn, isn't it? Okay. So I'm just going to take, line it up on one side. You can use the little trick that I just talked about, which is the idea of putting it all around all of the edges and using a little centerpiece to help you figure out what's center. And I will tell you that the paper is just a tiny bit longer than the actual card is. Excuse me, the paper is a little bit bigger than the card is. So you will have to go through and trim your card on the inside. If you like cutting it beforehand. If you like putting it on and then cutting it, go for it. I really do need that line, and even sometimes that line decides that it wants to go haywire. It just has decided. I think that they have little mischievous brains. That's what I think. All of my craft supplies, I can see them like dancing and frolicking around in my craft room. That's why I can't find anything. Okie dokie. So here is our piece. This is what we're making. Okay, so this comes straight off of your topper sheet. Remember, we used that piece for our 6x6 arch card with the hot air balloon. And so this time we're going to use this section of the card. And at first I had made it a little bit wider than I had actually made it to where it had a little bit of a wider space. I had initially thought, oh, well, I definitely want to have some of my paper showing again for that little basket, especially with a hot air balloon, even though it's got its metal pieces at the bottom. It gives me that reminiscent of the hot air balloons with their basket shapes. So initially I had it this fat. And I decided that I liked it with just a little bit extra off this side. So if you see this right here too, because they kept it so close to the edge of the paper, it's really askew over here anyways. So you definitely want to fiddle with it a little bit and just kind of make a decision as to where you want that to sit. How big do you want it to be? So, hi Sharma. Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, Sharma. Thank you for dropping in, and if you want to stay for a little bit, you can. Otherwise, we totally understand, and we'll see you on Saturday. Feel better. The spice is 8x4 that I cut, so you do have to do your little bit of trimming. The balloon itself is 3.5x7 that I cut initially, and yeah, I decided that I liked it again just about that same size. So, but it really becomes up to you, and I want you to be able to make these the way that you like and what you see that you enjoy. Oh yes, and here's where I accidentally put that gear on, so we're not going to do that here. If you like it and you have your extra gears from your Clockworks, you can totally add gears actually to a few of the different spaces. Okay. Yes, I actually used my finger lift tape and then I'm going to glue it. And I've just found that it adheres better with this cotton paper. Just glue, it sticks too fast, and it seems like I can't get it to move around as much with the cotton paper as I can with the other. Just putting a really thin little line in the middle. To help it anchor. I have no idea why the glue works with the finger lift so well. I have no idea. That is not my expertise, but I found that it works. So I'm just going to pass that along. Okay, I'm putting it up higher at the top than at the bottom, and it's because of all the tags that I have. So the tags, since they're down here at the bottom, and I thought, well, I need to find something to do with this space. the balloon is actually much smaller than I would have expected it to be when I originally had this plan for doing the DL card. And so I went, oh, it's much smaller. So I started cutting it down a little bit and cutting it down a little bit and cutting a little bit shorter. And I think that this works really well. And then I've got this big open space down here that I can do the other piece of this. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to grab, the hot air balloon. Now, I took the piece off of the 6x6, but I had enough left over that I took that from the corner. There's not much left over after that. I think that this actually does it, which is part of the reason why it's the size that it is. So let me tell you what the size is, because I did pay attention. This is a 2 by 2 3/4. Now, it's not much fun as a tag unless you actually round out your tag. This is our hunky-dory punch. I don't have to give it a lot of force. And some people say, oh, you can just do the round parts at the bottom, and you totally can. I kind of like it up at the top. Okay, so this is what I have. And I think, nope, it's right on track with the other. It's looking a little bit wider than I was expecting it to. I think I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. Okay, I'm back. All right, so now I need to recut that corner because I cut a little bit off. Make sure they all line up. Yep, sure do. Okay. The other thing is I have a hole punch. Now, the hole punch that I have at home, and I know that Debbie has one around here, but I forgot to ask her where it was prior to.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, I thought that you also had a hunky-dory one. So you can either use this one. This is the We Are Memory Keepers. Oops, there's the name. We Are Memory Keepers. It has lots of different holes that you can choose to punch with. And it's really easy to use. It just slides around. Isn't that great? Now, I don't want too big of a hole, but I want to have it kind of at least mimic similarly with the hot air balloon. And so I'm going to make it just a tiny bit wrong way, blue at the top. I'm not going down too far, just enough to kind of make him center. There we go. So we have the hole here, and we have the hole here. And this is where we use part of our iridescent ribbon. Iridescent red. And we included a little key in with your goodies. So isn't that just sweet? They're all going to be a little different, but that's the one for this one. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I clip off just the end. I'm going to make sure to get the cutter bees because those usually do really well. I'm just going to trim it off so that it's easy to put through. Okay. So go ahead and come from the back forward. And this hole is really kind of small. If you find that it's too small and it's difficult, I don't actually watch it at all. I just kind of push it up to the hole and see what I can feel on the other side. And that's truly how I handle it. But if it just feels too small, you can use a different type of ribbon, a thinner piece. Now the key I hadn't gone through before, so let's see what I do with that. I'm going to make a sharper little end again. So it's not as much about getting it exact as it is feeling that it's there. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a little bow. That's all, just a sweet little bow. I want my key to hang down. So I'm going to tie it off. It's just your regular standard bow. I wanted a simpler bow just because there's a lot with all these different pieces. And if I had used a fancier bow, I feel like I may possibly lose parts of it because it would cover up some of these really pretty pieces. Okay. Cut it with a little angle. And I'm going to show you what I did here. You're going to want to follow the line of your tag. So if I am thinking about this hanging down from something, if I have it at an angle, then this is what's going to fall that direction. So even though they're tied together, you want to make sure that you account for gravity and let it hang. If you don't do it this way, it looks a little bit awkward that everything is kind of hanging out over here like this. And then it looks really, it doesn't seem to work. So that goes here. What I did was I tacked it down right here on this side with a little bit of a loop. And then I went with the tag hanging. This is how a ribbon would naturally hang with that tag. And then I just dropped a little tiny bit of glue here on the paper on this part of the tag to hold it into place so it wasn't flapping around or bending in the card when you mail it. So same thing here. You're going to want to think about, okay, if a tag is going to hang this way, if my tag's going to hang this way, then it just should really go straight up and down, right? But because I've got it at the angle, and keep in mind, you're going to be able to hang this off the edge of the card. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just tack it down with a little bit of best glue ever. And then on this side, I just glued it with regular glue just because I was impatient. I dealt with the gears by then on the other card. So under there, you're not going to really see the glue with it, and it makes it pretty quick and fast. This one, I will tell you, I didn't use the best glue, and man, I wish that I had, because there's a little dot right there that I wouldn't have had if I used the best glue ever. So we're going to go ahead and I will do the best glue ever a little bit later. So then that way it doesn't show through your ribbon and it glues on so nicely. And what I do is I put a little bit of a turn and twist on it, let it sit upright a little bit, because then that way, that's what ribbon would do, right? If it was hanging around, it's not flat against something. So you just take a little bit and do it just like that. I move my key down so that where it hangs is pretty close to where it should hang here, like that. And then I put it up on foam squares. So this sticks out a little bit from the top, just like that. Now you can choose to either grab some of your 2 millimeters if you want, or you can put on our 1 millimeter. What I will say is that whatever you do, you're going to have to do double the amount for this corner because you're now hanging off the edge and the paper is thicker. Excuse me. The paper is, since you're off of the page, you don't want that to sink down. So as soon as you get all of your foam squares set, you're going to take one more foam square and on this corner, put on your last one. There you go. There you got it. On the inside, I have what was left of this piece on the inside. Here's my surprise that's on the inside of this card because I think that's what I said. I had a surprise on the inside of the card for you. So are you ready? See, if you hung out with me all the way to the end, you get to see the really cool thing on the inside. So I made some tags on the inside as well. And doesn't that just pop out at you? And I thought how much fun it would be to tuck in an actual gift card in somewhere. Now I glued it down already. I have it set. So I can't do that with this particular one, but you can absolutely just tuck in a little gift card underneath there and let them discover it and find it. I thought this would be a great card if you know that somebody who enjoys traveling is going to go on a trip somewhere and you want to make sure that they have a little bit of extra to be able to use for spending money where they're going. You know, get that souvenir. You can do that for there. You can do it for graduation because this is a time where they're traveling in life and it's changing for us that's a big time that we have a lot of change is when we change at graduation. And the other one is for retirement. So this one says enjoy the journey on the inside. I did allow it to just kind of move and flow. And so with that, I thought a gift card would be great in there, just tucked inside. And isn't that beautiful on the inside? Just makes it really shine. I did use Stickles here on these edges.
What color Stickles did you use?
One is a pink taffeta and the other one is the mercury gold. And then these that are here, this was pink, this is pink, this is the mercury gold, and this is diamond right through there. I have to use a lot of diamond, folks, because I have 3 of them at home because that's how much I thought that I needed diamond. I just kept, my mom needed one, and so I bought one, and then she said, oh, you gave me one. So now I have 3. So anyways, that piece of the card we're going to do next. So it's kind of almost like 2 cards in one. So this last piece of our spice basket, remember we used one here, we used one here, and so now we've got some left over at the end. And so I'm going to cut that out. The spice basket is 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. And I had to cut it a little bit smaller because if you think about it, cards when they fold, you don't want to put it so close to the wrinkle space in there that it ends up bending your piece. So you just want it a little bit smaller. Then I took 2 pieces from the bottom of this right across. I have my 2 pieces, and one is a little bit shorter than the other because I'm leaving a little bit more. Whoop, whoop. Sorry guys. Goes right here on the end of the corner and to here. And one of them is a little bit shorter because I put it at the bottom, the longer one, and the shorter one on top. Has anyone else tried the lunar paste yet? Debbie, you tried the lunar paste when we had the Stickles with the big confetti pieces in it.
Yes.
We had used it. So there's an example of it on a What's New Wednesday, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of smeared it on so they could see what they looked like.
Yeah.
So on one of the What's New Wednesdays, yes, we did.
Okay. So here's where I used my top piece, and then I used my bottom piece that was a little bit shorter here. Why didn't I just cover it all with the yellow?
Are you talking about the Stickles piece? Or
Yeah, the Stickles
the new
paste.
Simon Hurley piece?
Oh, the lunar paste I thought was part of the Stickles. So
No,
let
I
me
think
clarify
it might be
that.
Simon Hurley that they're asking about. I have not tried those yet.
I believe Roberta had the question. Okay. So here we go. To answer the question that I was starting to say, and I got distracted by my own brain going, oh, hey, there's a comment. I want to make sure I catch it. Is the reason why the whole thing isn't yellow is because there will not be enough space. You won't have enough of the yellow paper if you are making the tags and all the different pieces. So the bigger one goes here at the top. Make sure you stay out of that little wrinkle in the corner. You can always cut off from this side. Just make sure that you've got a little bit of space right there because you don't want to have it wrinkle. For making the various different tags, I wouldn't have had enough of the yellow to make the tags if I didn't do that. Okie dokie. So here's that one. Give it that little space. On it goes. Now when I cut this, I noticed that there's just a little tiny bit that isn't quite, I can see some of the black paper underneath it. So I must not have had sharp enough scissors because it usually cuts very nice. But see, it has a little bit of black right there too. And it just has to do with the fact that I obviously didn't have sharp enough scissors going into it. Okay. See, those just nicely fit in between the two. When you do put your finger lift tape on here, you want to be really careful that you don't, sorry guys, you want to be really careful that you don't shove down on these too much to get the finger lift into the little holes, or else it will flatten your holes at your little indents. So make sure that you're just kind of running it along. You can do it, but don't do it hard. I made the mistake and I did it a little bit too hard, and it really was noticeable. So I had to start with a new piece of paper. So just something to be aware of. There we go. So now we've got our inside portion of our card. And here goes the next set of measurements. So on the outside, we have the 2 by 2 3/4. On the inside, we have two different tags hanging out instead of just the one along with the top tag. So technically 2 tags on this side, on the outside, and 3 tags on the inside. Okay, so the first tag on the inside is 2 by 2 3/4, so it's the same as on the outside. And then this little piece came off of that border right here. So we used part of it, right? We used part of it for the 6 by 6. And then you're just taking out just a tiny little section. Let me get, boop, boop. There we go. You're just getting a tiny little section of it, not very much at all. You just want to have at least a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the maroon showing because it's just so pretty. You want to have that little bit of extra. Okay. So I have these two, and the maroon border is 1.5 by 2.5. Okay, so there's our two. Tags look a lot prettier when they got corners. So we'll make our corners. Those little hole punches are so neat. Okay. Now, I did my tags at the exact same time because I wanted to make sure that I had the holes spaced appropriately. So you have this little tag that's going on top, but we can at least make sure that this one is all lined up so that the holes are in the same approximate space. Give it a little bit of space here at the top. I don't know if you can see it right there, little hole. Give it enough of a space from the top to the bottom that it's not going to tear your tag. Pop out the hole on this one. And then this is where you're going to run your last thing of ribbon through. I apologize. Wrong kind. You're going to take, you've got all of your holes lined up, and you're just going to push that through to the other side. Let me show you that. There's your hole in all 3, and you're just going to take this and push it through to the other side, which is great because it's a lot easier to push that through, right? than to try and thread them all through. Tweezers, tweezers. There you go.
To Annette. She says she loves your work.
Good night, Annette. Thank you for hanging out. So push my ribbon through. Now I've got that great little space right there. See that? I've pushed it through the hole. This is going to the back. And now I'm just putting these through and pulling. Put these through the hole, pull it on up. Now you've got a beautiful little tag section. You have a little bit of your border left over. Isn't that amazing that we still have that much border left over? So I just chose to put it on the bottom of my yellow card and on the bottom, on the side of my maroon card. So, bottom here. Cut it off. Every little piece, right? It's going to be my claim to fame, I tell you. And then, and then here, you've got enough for that border side. Isn't that great? Now, if you like, you can put it on this side. You've got a lot of leeway to be able to do what you would like with them. And you may decide that you don't want it at all. You like it like this. So it just depends on what your enjoyment is on how to make it. I think that I put mine here this last time, but in retrospect, I think I want to put my border on the other side. Please tell me that I was holding that low enough that they could see. So here's the opposite side. There you go. And I'm just going to tuck it right in like that. And because I didn't do it earlier, I don't know that I can get that other one quite right. So I'm going to have to round my own corner here. There you go. Look, nobody would have known. Okay. There we have it. And then again, you're going to try and think about how will this lay if I hang it on to the side. So see right there how, maybe not. It does not want to focus. Oh, there we go. See how I have them? They're kind of hanging a little bit more together. Well, it's because up here at the top, it's going straight up and down. So you just want to kind of play with it a little bit and go, okay, I've got this one that goes here, and oh, maybe this one flew this way, and maybe it dropped. And you just want to leave these ribbon pieces. You just want to leave these ribbon pieces hanging out inside. I did not tack them down. And the main reason for that is that it can bend and move. And so when you fold it, you're already going to kind of fold it in. So it's going to stay against your card in the long run, but it also means that I'm not accidentally forcing it to do something that once you move the card that you don't like. And then for this one, I just tacked down this one. And I tacked it down on both sides and on the bottom. I don't want that little guy moving. The others can move, but this one I want it to give it a nice, thick, stable space. And I'm going on that cotton paper. So I need to make sure that I get enough glue to attach one to the other. So the finger lift tape will work, but it won't be really solid in there. So now I've got to add my glue. And that finger lift tape holds nicely to the paper, and the glue holds nicely to the sticky tape, and it sticks nicely to the cotton. So here we go. Tuck these in.
What?
Oh, I said tuck these in.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Tuck these on in.
Tuck the ribbon.
Just tuck those on in, fold it, and now you've got a card. So let's take a look really quick now that I have this huge messy space.
I'll back up and show it.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot to cut this off. Okay. They're pretty key, pretty bows, all tucked in together. Remember that best glue ever right there. Okay. First off, I want to show you what a difference that Stickles makes. Okay. And I played with it a little bit. I used one of my little book pages because I thought that this would be fun to use for my little books. And with my little book, I'm going to show you the example. Maybe I did not pull up the example, which is quite possible. Oh, here it is. So I practiced in my little book first. Isn't that pretty? So I knew what I could use. I knew what I could get away with. This has the pink taffeta in these spaces. And then I hadn't even tried the diamond or the mercury because I was really wanting to see how well these would stand up against. And I really wanted to get that area to stick out. So I am going to absolutely put this Stickles, and this Stickles is the waterfall. It's one of the new ones. And I'm actually going to take and I only went down one side. I did not go up the other side. So I didn't actually hashtag all of them. I just followed one set of lines instead of both. And it still drew it out really pretty and really nice. So that is what I'm going to do to this one. I'm going to do the Stickles that you see here, plus my little hash marks all the way across over here as well. Okay, so that is one. So let's see, one. A couple of these will have to lay flat still because I wanted to make sure that I brought them in. This one is our, let me see, which way should I go? There we go. This is our one that I showed you how to do, but I did not actually attach everything so that we could get through it this evening. This is number 3 with our car and our little, this way? Boop, 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 boop.
Hide the face for the moment.
Oh, that sounds even better. Okay, there we go. I think I'm gonna move this little guy back up in here. Okay, This is our one with our different spaces through here. Turn it so you can see a little bit better, and then, or not. Just kidding. And then we have our Dapper Chap. I'm just gonna lay him. No, I won't. Kidding, kidding, kidding. Okay, you'll just have to move out a little bit more, Bryce. I'm sorry. There we go. So those are the cards. I will tell you right now, you end up having this entire half left over. This entire half of the piece is left over. I didn't do it because this is the one that I was going to use for my dad's inspiration card. I grabbed our moonstone die. It's the light clockwork frame. And if you want more gears, but you don't want the metal ones, this has lots of neat gears to it. So I grabbed that, and I grabbed my piece, and then I took some of our floral from the Hunky Dory line. That's our floral damask. It's got keys on it and everything else. And so this is what I'm actually going to use. And when I'm done with it, I will post it on Facebook. So watch out for it. And then it will be on Facebook for you to be able to see the finalized piece. But it's a lot of fun. I chose to do and get the moonstone die because I'm using the little book. So I want to give it some extra oomph that will give that gold and that shine to it that you have from all of these really great topper cards. So, do you have any classes? No, classes, questions. Woo! That's what happens when you're reading and talking at the same time. Does anybody have any questions before I sign off? I think we are good. Thank you guys. Please give a thumbs up to us. If you give a thumbs up, it really helps out our viewing times, and then that puts us up and up further, and we reach more people. And wouldn't it be great to be able to have even more crafty friends? So please do that thumbs up, send it out there, and I'm not seeing any questions. So with that, I say good night. Bye, guys.